So let me start by talking a little bit about what today is all about, what we hope to do at this advising session, what we hope to share with you, and what we hope you'll walk away with. First of all, introductions. I'm Lisa Hollibaugh. I'm your first-year class dean, and what is a first-year class dean? I'm the person who is going to help usher you, students in the room, through the transition from high school to college, which I think is a pretty big deal, and then through your first year at Barnard. During the summer, that means I'm going to be sharing information with you like today. I'm going to be helping you figure out some of the things, especially about the academic side of Barnard, especially about the curriculum. But I also want to be a sort of point person for you. I work very closely with all of the student services offices on campus. I work closely with our faculty. And so if you have questions, I may not always be the person who can answer your question most specifically or most fully, but I often know who can. So if you would just think of me as something like a traffic cop who can help point you from place to place and from office to office, my goal is to help keep getting you information that you need throughout the year so that you can move forward as comfortably and as satisfyingly and as fulfillingly as possible. I'm also someone who can help you if things don't always go smoothly. I'm hoping that your first year is going to be really exciting and fun, but there are ways in which it could get bumpy, and especially if you ever have concerns or if you ever have an emergency of any kind. Again, you might not know who the right person is to help you, but you can always think of me first, and I can get in touch with as many people as necessary to help you if that means you might need to be away from campus for some kind of emergency or something like that. Please think of me as the person who can be helpful to you anytime during the next year. I also want to talk a little bit about the office that I'm in, because I hope it's an office you'll get to know during your years at Barnard, and I think you'll find lots of people there who can help you not only as you start Barnard, but throughout Barnard, and even as you complete your career at Barnard and start to think about steps after that. And that's the Office of the Dean of Studies. The Dean of Studies is the person in the office that oversees all advising at Barnard that's outside the major. Later on in your Barnard career, you will consider a major, you will select a major, and you will work with a faculty member who is in that academic department or program who knows the advanced material and can help you through your advanced work. But for anything outside of the major that you may need, you can think of the Office of the Dean of Studies as a place to find out that information, or again, to at least know who the person is to start with your questions. So, for example, we have a class dean for every class. I always work with the first year class, helping with this transition. When you move on to your sophomore year, there's a sophomore class dean who will help you through the process of selecting a major and declaring a major. The junior class dean works with students who are getting into their major, also who may be studying abroad that year. It's a very common year to study abroad. The senior class dean will make sure that you're getting all of your requirements in place to be able to graduate. But there are also people there who will help you if you are trying to figure out how to prepare for things beyond Barnard. Those of you who may be preparing for some kind of graduate school, medical school, law school, business school, some other kind of graduate school, we have deans in our office who can help you know what the requirements are, what your options are, and how to prepare, and even how to go through the application process. There's a dean for study abroad who's not in our office. She's in the area of the provost, but we work very closely with her, and she can advise any of you who are thinking about the possibility of studying abroad for a semester or even a year during your time at Barnard. So as you'll see, there's all kinds of ways in which the Dean of Studies office can be a resource to you. I hope you'll drop by, get to know us, and hopefully come back and visit us throughout your years at Barnard so that we can help you as you move along. And for our next introduction, I want to introduce you to someone who is going to be helping me not only today, but throughout the summer, and who, as I describe things to you, can really tell you what it's like to experience them.
So hello everyone, my name is Gia Yannikis. I actually just graduated from Barnard about 2-3 weeks ago. I, in my time here, was a sociology major and also a pre-medical student, so I was sort of across the board academically. I did a bunch of different things extracurricularly, a lot of them related to community service. I also worked in the admissions office, which is sort of what brings me here today. But I will be working closely with Dean Hollibaugh this summer to help answer your questions and to help you work through the process of enrolling at Barnard. So I will be one of the names you'll be seeing if you send us emails or call us or whatever else throughout the summer.
So just quickly to highlight again what we hope to do today, what the purpose of this particular advising session is. When you are a student at Barnard, you will always go through a time of planning and then a time of finalizing your plan. So if you were already a current student, let's say you were here this past spring, in April, we asked our current students to kind of pause or at least reserve some of their brain space in the middle of everything else to think a little bit about next fall and to sit down and think about where they were in their progress, what they needed to do next, talk to their advisor about where they are in their process, and then look at the courses that are being offered and select them. And so they have actually already formed a plan for next fall. They've enrolled in classes, reserved spaces for themselves in those classes, and then they put that aside and got back to the business of finishing up the spring semester. Now they're off doing their summers, and some of them may still be mulling over this plan. Some of them probably aren't going to think about it for a while. But that was just the plan. When all the students come back in September, they will have a chance to think about that plan, think about whether they've changed their mind in the meantime. They'll get to visit the classes in which they enrolled reserved spaces. They'll get a chance to talk to their advisors again, and they'll make changes if they want to, or they won't make changes if they don't want to, and then they will finalize things. So as brand new students to Barnard, we would like for you to have the same opportunity to go through this planning stage so that you have a chance to hear some information, learn about the curriculum, make a plan, and have some spaces reserved in certain classes so that when you walk onto campus in late August, early September, it's not the first time you're seeing all this information and it's not the first time you're actually trying to make a plan. But you will then get a chance to rethink it. You'll get a chance to visit classes. You'll get a chance to meet your new advisor. You'll get a chance to really think about whether this is the right way you want to start your 4 years at Barnard. You'll be able to make changes as necessary and then move forward. So whatever we talk about today, if it still feels a little bit confusing at the end, whatever we have you sign up for or you decide to sign up for this summer, if you're not certain about it, please know that this is only stage one and that you'll have a chance to revisit all this information with not only the help of me and Gia, but also your advisors later on, faculty members, lots of people to help walk you through it. So that when you do finalize your, as we call it, an academic program, in the fall, you'll feel more confident that you're starting where you want to. And you will hear this term academic program quite a bit. That's what we call your course schedule at Barnard. So if we refer to your academic program, that's everything that you're taking for credit in a particular semester. So what you're doing is determining your advanced program, that plan, and then later in August and September, you will finalize that program, and that will be your final program for the fall. So today I want to expand a little bit on the material that you will have hopefully had a chance to at least glance at. And again, I realize that you'll want to probably look at this a couple times to process it. But I want to expand on the material in the first year guide, maybe clarify something, and certainly find out what questions you have. And one of the things you'll find in our advising system at Barnard is that we encourage all of you students to be a very active part of the advising relationship that you will have with your advisor, with your class deans, with other faculty members, anyone who can give you information. You should definitely know that we're here to answer questions, and we welcome questions. So we're going to pause at different moments in the session today to see what questions you may already have. And if you're like me, you may think of a dozen questions about a half an hour after this is all over. Please know that we are here during the summer to answer your questions as well. And in fact, if you want to get in touch with the Dean of Studies office, the phone number is on the inside cover of your guide. You will have also seen, I hope, this email address, first year with a hyphen, first hyphen year, at barnard.edu. If you send an email to that particular email address, it will go to both Gia and me. So you can get questions answered from both of us. If you have questions that are specifically about the student experience and would like to ask Gia directly, that's another way you can get in touch with her. So please don't hesitate to ask us questions after today, throughout the summer, going into August. We welcome them. And speaking of staying in touch, I do just want to highlight a few things about this process during the summer of preparing for the fall. First of all, I assume that all of you by now have probably looked at this website again and again, the Enrolling Students website, and I do just want to highlight the to-do list that, again, you've probably looked at quite a bit. And many of the forms that are at the top of the to-do list have already been due in early June. So you've probably already taken care of them. I do just want to highlight on page 5 of the first year guide, you might have noticed a big, bold announcement regarding the forms that we need for health services. And the reason that we have to emphasize this so much and in fact kind of hold you to it by holding your room assignment is because this is New York State law. So we not only need to have this for our own records, but New York State law requires us to have your immunization records. So I think it's worth highlighting now because in the summer you probably have vacations planned, your doctor probably has vacations planned, so you might want to make a note if you haven't already been able to have an appointment to get these forms completed to do so now. They will need to have them in our health services before you can get your room assignment and your roommate assignment later this summer. The other thing I wanted to highlight is the fact that you have now been assigned a Barnard ID, and I think many of you, if not all of you students, have probably set up your online email account. This is one area in which you're going to start experiencing this multiple identity that you will have as a Barnard student, because your Barnard account does not just come attached to a Barnard email account, but also a Columbia email account. And so I wanted to highlight that to you because, for one thing, email is a way that we will be getting in touch with you often at Barnard, whether it's sending you information. Your professors often use email to communicate with their classes. You might get an email from a professor setting up an appointment for office hours or even giving an assignment for the whole class. So I don't know if email is something that everyone uses that regularly these days or if it's something that you check regularly, but that's why I want to highlight it now so that it's something that you can kind of put on your radar and get into a habit of looking at. Also, with so many emails, you may have a personal email address that you already feel comfortable checking, and it might be difficult to kind of add in another address to check. So you might want to think about how to manage these accounts. Do you want to forward your Barnard email account or your Columbia email account or both of them to a different email address? There are instructions for how to do that on our student computing website. So it just might be a good idea to think about these things and kind of organize these things before you get to campus, because especially once you start classes and then go to the club fair where you've given your name and address to about a dozen clubs and organizations thinking you might be interested in them, you'll find that you're getting something like 50 or 60 emails a day. And so it's certainly easy to get email fatigue, and it's certainly easy to lose track of the ones that are important. So I just wanted to plant that seed now that you can think about it. And because of this way of having to juggle Columbia and Barnard email accounts, I'd like to ask Gia if she can share her thoughts about that, about what it's like to have all those accounts and how she herself might manage them.
So I personally have managed my email accounts by forwarding them all to my personal email address. I just find that easier. It's all in one place. I only have to check one email address every day, but you do want to be sure to check it at least once a day. I generally prefer many more than one time a day, just because you will be consistently getting emails throughout the day, both from Barnard, from your professors, from your activities. Once you start gaining leadership positions in your clubs, there will be things that you have obligations to. And so it is much more so than in high school a major means of communication here. I also, though, have friends who prefer not to forward their email addresses. They find it overwhelming to get so many emails in one email account, so sometimes they might set a reminder to check their Columbia email once a week or whatever else, because Courseworks, which is our online sort of academic portal where professors will post PDFs of readings or various things like that, professors can also send emails through that service, and any email sent through Courseworks will go to your Columbia email account. So it is very, very important that you check your Columbia email account. And of course, it's important that you check your Barnard email account because Dean Hollabell will be communicating with you through that. Your advisor will be communicating with you through that. And so you just want to be sure that you have a system in place that works for you so that things don't fall through the cracks. Because as Dean Hollabell said, it is easy sometimes for that to happen if you haven't figured something out before you start getting all of these emails in the fall. And also be sure that you are checking it throughout the summer because, as Dean Hollabell said, we will be sending you things to your Barnard email account, and you want to be sure you don't miss them.
And then last, in terms of staying in touch during the summer, I hope that a lot of you have already checked out the first year blog, but I do want to emphasize this as a place of information, not just during the summer when it will be a way that I can communicate with you easily when you're not on campus, but even during next academic year when you are here, I will use the blog as a place to post things. In fact, I may post things there instead of sending them to your email because I don't want them to get lost in this flurry of emails that you get every day. And so I hope this is something that you will bookmark and start to check once a week. Just to show you, it is in your class color green. This will become a font color for the class of 2017. And you'll notice that, for example, there's a very specific issue that I've posted to for people who have advanced study in Chinese. We've just changed our policy about the AP Chinese exam. I'm going to come back to this frequently asked question about first-year English. This is a place where you can find this. Sometimes it's just a frequently asked question that isn't crucial, but a lot of people are curious, and so I'll put it up here. In the same fashion, during the school year, I will be posting things about reminders about deadlines that are coming up, information about lotteries that you may need to enter to enroll in classes, opportunities that come up both on and off campus that are Barnard related. So it's just something that I hope you'll check out. During the summer, I'll probably be posting anywhere from 1 to 3 times a week. During the year, it could be even more. So as long as you're checking 1 to 2 times a week, you can know that you're feeling informed. Sometimes I will send an email in addition to this to make sure that I'm highlighting things that are particularly important, but this way you always know where it is. If you have deleted the email or if you can't remember it, you can know that you can find it. And just to highlight a couple things that are on the blog, starting at the top. So on the left-hand side, you'll see the posts that have information in them. On the right-hand side, this links to a calendar page where you can make an appointment with me during the academic year and with other deans in the Dean of Studies office. The calendar, a mostly academically oriented calendar that goes down the side of the page. And then if you keep scrolling down, I'll come back to this because what I've tried to do is take lots of different parts of the Barnard website and to a smaller extent the Columbia website and really highlight the ones that first years use the most and need to know the most. And so you'll see these links to other student services. I'm going to show you some of the links to academic information that you may want to check out during the year and certainly next academic year. And also a few sites at Columbia that will be a starting point for you to find out more information about classes over there. And then if you continue down, I do tag them according to topics, and so you can always do some searching if you want to find out things about everything that's been posted about study abroad or everything that's been posted about foreign languages or something like that. So that's the first year blog. It's something that is very handy during the summer, I think equally handy during the school year, and I hope you will be used to checking it regularly.